Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome again to my podcast, Snacks Thoughts. I say welcome again to Snacks Thoughts. And what is my thought of today? Today would be another life lesson, and I would call this podcast a cautionary tale of the two. Again, a cautionary tale of the two. And what am I talking about when I say a cautionary tale of the two? I was reflecting back, on some instances like years ago, and between two women that, I had, dated for, some brief encounters. And they both, had sons that were in the same age group. And let me give this disclaimer, that I am not prejudiced or racist or nothing like that, and I am African American. And so one, individual that I was dating was African American and lived in a lower income neighborhood. The other was wealthy and was, Caucasian, and lived in an affluent neighborhood. And both of their sons were in the same age group, the similarities and commonalities, both, had participated in reckless behavior, kind of bullheaded, wanted to do their own thing, and they both young guys, in their 20s, at the time, and both kind of like were bad boys, Now, here's where I'm going with this. And I had since retired from the military at that time, and so I'd been overseas, for a long, so long, that I'd forgotten about the maybe the laws or the rules in American society and its justice system. But anyway, to get to my point, when I talk about the tale of two, there was one son that had been arrested and been incarcerated, 2 times for dealing marijuana. And they weren't dealing in like major weight, maybe pushing like, I don't know, maybe 20s and dime bags, whatever like that. And they had the 3-strike rule, where if they got caught again, then they were going to be sent, to the penitentiary for a while, to state prison for a while for a third drug offense. Now, the contrast to that's the on the African American side, okay, the African American male in his early 20s, and that's in a low income neighborhood. But then contrast that to where I'm up in this affluent neighborhood, son in her 20s, very similar behavior, bad boy type, and but he and his girlfriend lived in the guest house, and in this neighborhood, this is a wealthy neighborhood, but this one had a gated like compound where you had several, these houses were huge that were in this compound, and so they all had guest houses. And so the son and his girlfriend stayed in the guest house, but they had so much land, and as I looked, and I couldn't believe what I saw, Now, with the Caucasian woman's son, he had marijuana plants at least 6 feet high, and I'm talking about, it was so much of it that it was so far that the eye couldn't even count. And this is right on the land where the guest house was. 6 feet. The marijuana plants were 6 feet, tall. And from what I understand, I don't believe that marijuana or cannabis was legalized yet in this particular place. So I'm looking and I'm liking that, and in the affluent household, they smoked. Some of them smoked marijuana, and in the hood, saying in that household, they smoked marijuana. So here you have two sides, of a different coin, but they both, participate in the same thing, similar activities, and they both have sons, and one who did not have nowhere near the weight of marijuana is gotten locked up, gotten 2 felonies out of it, whereas the other one, same age, with all of this marijuana, plants 6 feet high. I'm talking about as far as the eye could see, and never had a felony. And so for me, it was kind of like a hard slap of reality about the, I guess maybe the bias that is in this American justice system, and it really, saying kind of shocked me because I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, and the, even when I had woke up the next morning and, was walking around the neighborhood, trying to go back to the compound, I remember this Indian girl that lived there, she's looking at me, side-eye like, hey, what are you doing in this neighborhood? And then you have like, obviously, older people that lived in the neighborhood, in this affluent neighborhood, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself while I'm sitting by the pool, playing with the dog and stuff like that. I'm just like, these people have to know that this guy is growing, all this marijuana back here. Because, it was the good stuff. And, sometimes with the good stuff, you can smell the raw marijuana plant, when it's freshly grown. But it's like, and obviously they've been doing this, for a while, but it seemed like everybody in this affluent neighborhood had turned a blind eye. Whereas, had it been an African-American male, he would be judged and accused by society, as being a criminal. And I was just really, just kind of shocked. And, I wasn't angry or nothing like that, but it was just like, here I am seeing it face to face. It's like, wow, you have 2 males in their early 20s, and one has more possession growing it, far more than this other one does in this lower income community. And one has been penalized, already twice. And if he gets a third time, he gets put away, in the pen for a long time, which means that a lot of his youth would be spent in prison over dealing much smaller quantities of marijuana, whereas another one is dealing it on a major scale and doesn't have a blemish on his record. But it's something, and it just gave me something to think about. But it's, and I know that nobody is blind, or foolish, especially after everything that we've seen so far with the, the injustices. I know you got Black Lives Matter. It's a whole host, of things that are going on, these cops shooting and the beatings and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it was a hard dose of reality. And I had seen it with my own eyes, the difference in how a rich Caucasian male is treated in society for doing the same thing, but except on a far worse, saying on a different scale, and able to get away with it. And society just turned a blind eye like it didn't exist. Whereas the African American male, some of them obviously doing it more maybe for survival, on a much smaller scale, is penalized and he's scrutinized by society. But that's something. It's something to think about, some food for thought. But like I said, I'm not upset or angry, but it was just like, it was a shock and a hard dose of reality. But that's all I have for this one, guys. And please, don't take, offense to what I'm saying. It's just something to really think about, and just what I actually experienced, and I began to look at the coin from two different perspectives. It's really something when you really think about it, how what the rich can do and what they can get away with, and then even because of how they set up, this thing called race, or judging people by their skin color and stuff like that, which I believe that a lot of this is getting ready to fade out anyway. I believe it's going to be about class now, but something to think about, guys, though. Just some food for thought, though, if you really think about it, just to see, two people in the same age group, but they're on two different sides of the coin, and this is going to impact their lives and how it turns out. Something to think about, guys. But that's all I have on this one for Snacks Thoughts. But I call it again a cautionary tale of the two. And the name of this podcast is Snacks Thoughts. That's SNAKZTHOUGHTS. And you can find me on Anchor, Spotify, Spreaker, Radio PBM, Listen, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and a host of other social media platforms. So please subscribe to Snacks Thoughts and share it, push it out. And also have a YouTube channel, Eric Brothers YouTube. That's EricBroadus. YouTube, or ericbrothersyoutube.com. So if you go over to my YouTube channel, smash that bell to subscribe and hit that like button. And please leave comments and share both Snacks Thoughts and Eric Brothers YouTube with your friends, your family, enemies, co-workers, cats, dogs, snakes, lions, whatever. Push it out and share it. But thanks, guys, for listening and hanging out with me. But I just wanted to leave you with something to think about. All right, guys? Peace out, and I will see you soon on the next one. Later.